Have you ever wondered if the pennies in your pocket could be worth a small fortune? Today, we're diving deep into some of the most fascinating 1-cent coins, from the rare 1959D to the intriguing 1975, 1977D, 1978D, 1981D, and beyond, including the 1982, 1984, 1988, 1989, and 1990 issues. These coins might look ordinary at first glance, but hidden within their metal and dates are stories of rare minting errors, secret varieties, and surprising values that collectors are desperately hunting for. Could one of these pennies be your unexpected treasure? Stay with us, because what you discover here might just change how you see the smallest coin in your change jar forever. Welcome back to Numis Explorer. The 1959D Lincoln cent may look like a simple, old, brown penny, but behind this tiny piece of copper lies a story full of change, controversy, mystery, and one of the most talked about events in U.S. coin history. When this coin was released, America was celebrating the 150th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, and the U.S. Mint decided it was time to end the 50-year era of the famous wheat penny. That alone shocked millions of people who had grown up seeing the wheat design every single day. The new design, introduced in 1959, featured the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a structure that symbolized unity, strength, and national pride. But the public reaction wasn't smooth. Many disliked the new modern-looking design, saying it had lost the charm of the wheat ears. Others noticed small details like the tiny statue of Lincoln between the columns, something never attempted before on a U.S. coin. Within the same year, rumors began spreading of strange experimental coins, even whispers of a mule coin with wheat reverse, something that shouldn't even exist. This alone created a mystery that still puzzles experts today. The Denver Mint played a major role in this coin story, striking more than 1.2 billion pieces in 1959 alone. People assumed that a coin with such a gigantic mintage could never become valuable, but that's where the real twist begins. High production meant more chances for mistakes. Double dies, repunched mint marks, die cracks, and unusual chips that collectors now obsess over. Some mint workers from that era even admitted that shifts were rushed, dies were reused excessively, and quality checks were not as strict as today. These conditions opened the door for rare varieties to escape into circulation. Then, decades later, in 1986, a man claimed he owned a 1959 D penny with a wheat reverse. Experts were shocked, machines couldn't conclusively prove it fake, and the government even got involved, only increasing the mystery. To this day, the question remains: did a secret experimental mule coin escape the mint? Or does someone out there still hold the rarest Lincoln cent of all time? The design story alone makes the 1959 D penny legendary. The obverse remains Victor D. Brenner's timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the same design introduced back in 1909. But the reverse, created by Frank Gasparo, was a bold step into modern coinage. Many people didn't appreciate it at first, calling it too flat or too architectural, but collectors today admire the precision it took to engrave the entire Lincoln Memorial on such a tiny surface. Hidden theories claim the design contains secret political symbols, while others believe Gasparo intentionally created microscopic details to showcase the mint's craftsmanship. Whether true or not, these speculations gave the coin a mysterious charm. And unlike the peaceful wheat reverse, this new memorial design represented power, structure, and America stepping into a new era during the Cold War years. Because of this symbolic shift, the 1959 D penny carries a cultural message far beyond its 1-cent value. The value of the 1959 D penny is where things get even more exciting. While most circulated coins are worth only a few cents, the real treasure lies in high-grade examples and rare errors. A small number graded MS-67 and MS-68 have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars simply because surviving a billion-coin production run in perfect condition is nearly impossible. Then come the error coins, true collector favorites. Some have the famous BIE error, where a die chip creates a line between the letters in Liberty. Others show double details, mint mark distortions, or dramatic die cracks that make the coin look like it was struck during an earthquake. And then the dream of every collector, the rumored 1959 D mule with a wheat reverse. If one authentic example were ever verified, experts believe it could easily reach hundreds of thousands, maybe even $1 million at auction. This possibility alone keeps collectors hunting through jars, boxes, and old rolls with excitement and hope. Today, the 1959 D. Lincoln cent continues to capture the imagination of coin lovers around the world. It represents the end of one era and the beginning of another, the heart of one of the biggest numismatic controversies, and a symbol of American history pressed into metal. Every time someone discovers a strange marking on a 1959 D penny, a new theory emerges. Every time an old coin roll is opened, collectors wonder if this could be the moment they uncover a hidden treasure. And as long as the mystery of the 1959 mule cent remains unsolved, the story of this coin will never die. This is what makes the 1959 D penny so thrilling. It's common in number but extraordinary in story, simple yet filled with mystery, ordinary yet capable of surprising the world. Who knows? Maybe the rarest one still lies forgotten in a drawer, waiting for the right person to recognize its true worth. The 1975 Lincoln cent is one of those coins that millions of people have seen, used, and forgotten. Yet buried inside its history are layers of mystery, drama, and surprising twists that very few people know. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary brown penny. Nothing rare, nothing unusual. But the story behind this coin takes us into the heart of American minting during a time of economic tension, inflation, and huge changes in public sentiment. In 1975, the U.S. was still facing the aftershocks of the early 70s economic crisis, with rising metal prices and fears that even the penny might soon become too expensive to produce. This tiny coin was struck in massive numbers, yet the mint was quietly experimenting behind the scenes, exploring cheaper alloys, testing new dyes, and trying methods to extend die life in high-pressure production runs. These behind-the-scenes experiments created unique varieties and strange minting anomalies that collectors today find irresistible. And because 1975 came just 1 year before the bicentennial celebrations, many Americans were already collecting coins in anticipation, unknowingly increasing attention toward this seemingly ordinary cent. The suspense begins here. A coin that millions ignored, yet one that hides stories most people have never heard. The Denver and Philadelphia mints produced over 11 billion 1975 pennies combined, making it one of the highest mintage cents in American history. With such massive production, machines were pushed to their limits, dies were overworked, and quality control struggled to keep pace. This opened the door for unusual errors. Double dies that appear like shadows on the letters, die cracks that look like lightning across Lincoln's portrait, and the famous floating roof variety where the roof of the Lincoln Memorial seems detached because the die's fine details wore away prematurely. Stories from retired mint employees reveal that 1975 was a hectic year. Machines running day and night, technicians rushing to replace damaged dies, and supervisors pushing for faster output to meet demand. Some workers even admitted that defective coins occasionally slipped through simply because inspection teams were overwhelmed. This chaotic environment sparked theories about rare 1975 test strikes, unconfirmed varieties, and even whispers of off-metal errors that may have escaped into circulation. Whether true or not, these stories create an aura of mystery around the 1975 penny, an ordinary cent surrounded by extraordinary rumors. What makes the 1975 penny even more fascinating is its design legacy. On the front, you see Abraham Lincoln's iconic portrait created by Victor D. Brenner in 1909, a design so timeless that more than a century later it is still used. Collectors admire how Lincoln's expression captures determination and compassion, symbolizing leadership through difficult times. On the reverse is Frank Gasparo's Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959, featuring hidden artistic details like the tiny statue of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial. Most people don't notice these microscopic elements, but this design contained some of the most intricate engraving work of its era. In 1975, subtle weaknesses in die preparation caused many coins to lose some of these fine lines, resulting in coins where the memorial steps look blurry or the interior statue appears faint. These small differences sparked debates among collectors about which varieties were simple die wear and which were genuine mint errors. Some theorists even claim that hidden symbols were intentionally placed in the design. Shapes, shadows, and fine lines they believe carry deeper meaning. Whether true or not, these theories bring layers of intrigue and give viewers another reason to look closer at a penny they once ignored. But when it comes to value, the 1975 penny offers some surprising twists. Ordinary circulated examples may only be worth face value, but a flawless, high-grade 1975 Lincoln cent can sell for hundreds or even thousands at auction. In some rare cases, MS-67 or MS-68 specimens have shocked collectors with unexpectedly high prices simply because surviving in perfect condition is nearly impossible for a coin produced by the billions. Then there are the dramatic error coins, off-center strikes that show only half of Lincoln's face, double-struck coins with ghost images, clipped planchets where pieces of the coin are missing, and BI errors where a die chip makes the word liberty appear as Ally Birdie. Each of these errors adds personality and uniqueness, and collectors chase these pieces like treasure hunters. And of course, the ultimate excitement lies in rumors of a 1975 off-metal strike, perhaps a penny mistakenly struck on a dime planchet or another unusual metal. Although unconfirmed, the possibility alone keeps collectors searching every old jar and drawer. The thrill comes from the idea that someone, somewhere, might one day find the ultimate rarity hiding in plain sight. Today, the 1975 Lincoln cent stands as a symbol of a changing America, an era of economic struggle, minting pressure, design legacy, and ongoing mystery. It might be one of the most common coins ever made, but its story is anything but ordinary. Every new discovery, every unusual mark, and every strange variety adds another chapter to its history. Collectors continue to search through old rolls, hoping to find the perfect high-grade example or a rare error that could change everything. And the suspense never ends because nobody truly knows whether some experimental 1975 coins are still out there waiting to be found. This penny proves that value isn't just about rarity. It's about story, mystery, legacy, and the thrill of the hunt. And maybe, right now, someone watching your video has a 1975 penny in their pocket that's worth far more than they ever imagined. The 1977 Lincoln cent may look like a completely ordinary penny, but beneath its brown copper surface lies a surprising story of economic pressure, minting stress, and mysterious varieties that collectors still talk about today. At first glance, this coin appears simple, common, and almost everywhere across the United States. Yet the year 1977 was far from ordinary for the U.S. Mint. America was still weighed down by inflation, rising production costs, and the debate about whether the penny should even continue to exist. Copper prices had been fluctuating dangerously for years, and the Mint constantly battled the problem of creating billions of coins without losing money. Behind those closed mint doors, engineers tried new die polishing techniques, increased machine speed, and pushed production lines harder than ever. These experiments created oddities, weak strikes, die deterioration, and unexpected varieties that slipped into circulation unnoticed. The public never knew these behind-the-scenes pressures, but collectors today see the results on their coins. And the suspense begins here. A year when the penny nearly changed forever, and one city, the Denver Mint, became the center of attention. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of 1977 pennies, and the pace was so intense that workers reported constant die changes, heavy machine vibrations, and long hours to meet production demands. When you push machinery this hard, mistakes begin to slip through, and that's exactly what makes the 1977 cent so interesting. Double die obverse varieties, strange die cracks across Lincoln's forehead, chips that create the famous BAE effect in Liberty, and weakly struck memorial details became common. Some coins have the floating roof effect, where the top of the Lincoln Memorial looks detached because the fine lines of the die wore away. Others show cracks that almost look like lightning strikes running through the design. Tiny imperfections that collectors pay real money for today. Rumors also circulated about off-metal strikes during the mid-70s, including possibilities of 1977 cents being struck on foreign planchets intended for other coins. While none of these have been officially confirmed, the whispers alone create a mysterious aura around this otherwise common cent. And every collector quietly wonders, could one of those rumored pieces still be sitting in someone's coin jar? The design of the 1977 penny carries its own fascinating legacy that makes the coin even more iconic. The obverse continues Victor D. Brenner's classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design used since 1909 and admired for its realism, dignity, and emotional depth. Lincoln's profile on this coin represents perseverance and leadership, a fitting symbol during a time when the country struggled with political and economic uncertainty. On the reverse is Frank Gasparo's Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959, featuring incredibly detailed architecture and a tiny engraved statue of Lincoln inside the memorial. In 1977, many dies wore down so quickly that the tiny statue often faded or became barely visible, turning these coins into interesting varieties for collectors. Some theorists even point out that certain 1977 D strikes show unusual shadowing around the memorial pillars, sparking conspiracy-style discussions about hidden design features. Although these theories may not have solid evidence, they add another layer of intrigue that keeps people engaged with this otherwise ordinary coin. The artistry, symbolism, and hidden details make it a memorable piece from a transitional decade in American history. When it comes to value, the 1977 D penny offers some unexpected surprises that most people have no idea about. While a regular circulated coin is usually worth only face value, high-grade examples, especially those graded MS-67 or MS-68, have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at major auctions. This is because out of the hundreds of millions minted, only a tiny handful survived without scratches, spots, or damage. Errors bring even more excitement. A dramatic off-center strike can bring big money, especially if Lincoln's face is still visible. Double-struck pieces, clipped planchets, and dramatic die breaks turn into collector highlights. One of the most desirable types is the strong double die on the obverse, where letters like Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date show shadow-like doubling. These pieces can bring serious collector interest. And then there's the suspenseful category of unconfirmed rarities, rumors of transitional planchet errors or experimental copper blends that might have been tested in the mid-70s. Whether they exist or not, the possibility alone fuels treasure hunters to examine every 1977 D penny they come across. Today, the 1977 D Lincoln cent remains a symbol of a changing America, caught between economic stress, minting pressures, design evolution, and a growing collector community. Even though billions were minted, the story hidden inside these tiny copper coins is far from ordinary. Each coin holds clues to the chaotic minting environment of the late 70s, the experiments that took place behind closed doors, and the errors that accidentally slipped into the hands of everyday people. Collectors continue to open old rolls, search inherited jars, and inspect pocket change with hope that the next rare strike, high-grade example, or mysterious unknown variety might appear. And that's the beauty of the 1977 D penny. It proves that even the most common-looking coin can hold secrets, history, and the potential for discovery. Maybe someone watching your video right now has a 1977 D penny worth far more than they ever imagined, and they just need to look a little closer to uncover its hidden story. The 1978 D Lincoln cent may look like a small, simple penny, but its history is far more dramatic than most people realize. This was a time when the U.S. Mint was under intense pressure. America was facing inflation, rising cost of raw metals, and the growing debate over whether copper pennies were still practical to produce. This little coin was struck right before a massive shift in U.S. coinage, only a few years before copper would be replaced with a cheaper zinc core in 1982. That means the 1978 D penny represents one of the last truly full copper eras in American history. The Denver Mint, responsible for striking this version, was producing coins at incredible speed to keep up with national demand. Behind the scenes, long hours, overworked machinery, and stress dies created conditions perfect for unusual varieties and unexpected errors to form. Collectors today don't just value the coin itself. They value the hidden story of how it came into existence. And the suspense begins with a simple question. How many unusual 1978 D cents slipped into circulation without anyone noticing? The Denver Mint struck more than 4.2 billion pennies in 1978, making it one of the highest output years in U.S. minting history. But what happens when billions of coins are produced in a hurry? The answer is simple: mistakes. Workers from that era often talked about machines running nonstop, dies cracking mid-shift, and supervisors urgently replacing worn-out dies before they completely failed. These conditions gave birth to some fascinating varieties. die cracks that run across Lincoln's head like lightning bolts, die chips that cause letters in Liberty, or In God We Trust to bubble or break, and the famous BIE error created by a crack between the B and E in Liberty. Some coins even show the floating roof effect, where the top of the Lincoln Memorial appears disconnected because the die's fine lines wore away. There are also rumors of unconfirmed double-die varieties and whispers of test strikes that may have escaped the mint during a particularly hectic year. While no one has proven these mysterious pieces exist, the possibility alone excites collectors and makes people examine every 1978 D penny they find with renewed curiosity. The design of the 1978 D penny also carries a deep historical legacy that adds another layer of interest. The obverse features Victor D. Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln, first introduced in 1909 and still admired for its realism and emotion. Lincoln's calm yet determined expression symbolizes strength through difficult times, something America itself was dealing with as inflation and political uncertainty continued to shape the decade. On the reverse, Frank Gasparo's Lincoln Memorial design stands proudly, with tiny engraved details such as the miniature statue of Lincoln visible between the columns. But in 1978, many of these details disappeared on worn dies, leading to coins where the steps look flat or the statue appears ghost-like. These imperfections aren't mistakes, they're clues. They reveal how worn out the mint's tools were and how hard the equipment was pushed during high-speed production. Some collectors even claim these faint areas form mysterious shapes or shadows, sparking theories about hidden designs or secret engraving decisions. Whether true or not, these theories give the coin a layer of intrigue that keeps people talking. When it comes to value, the 1978 D penny has surprises that most people don't expect. While common circulated examples are usually only worth face value, the real treasures lie in high-grade pieces and dramatic mint errors. A flawless MS-67 or MS-68 red example can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. This is because it is nearly impossible for a coin made in such massive quantities to survive without scratches, stains, or nicks. Then come the error coins, off-center strikes where Lincoln's portrait shifts dramatically, double strikes where two images overlap, clipped planchets missing partial edges, and severe die breaks that create raised lines across the coin. These errors turn ordinary pennies into valuable collectibles. And then there is the suspenseful possibility of off-metal errors, coins accidentally struck on dime, foreign, or experimental planchets. Although not officially confirmed for 1978 D, the chance that one may still be out there keeps treasure hunters checking every old penny jar and coin roll with excitement. The thrill of discovering a rare, valuable 1978 D penny is real, and collectors know that these surprises often come from the most unexpected places. Today, the 1978 D Lincoln cent stands as a reminder of the final years of America's traditional copper penny and the hidden struggles inside the U.S. Mint during the late 1970s. It's a coin that billions of people have handled without realizing it carries stories of rushed production, secret varieties, and potential rarities still hiding in circulation. Even now, collectors continue to search through pocket change, hoping to uncover that perfect high-grade example or a rare error that could be worth far more than 1 cent. Each coin is a tiny piece of history, containing clues about the mint's challenges, America's economic struggles, and the transition toward a new era in coinage. And the most exciting part? Nobody knows how many undiscovered treasures from 1978 D are still out there. Maybe someone watching your video right now has a coin in their hand that could change everything. They just haven't looked closely enough yet. The story of the 1981 D Lincoln cent begins at a time when America was facing economic pressure, rising copper prices, and increasing demand for small denomination coins. The Denver Mint, already famous for its high-speed production, struck more than 5 billion pennies in 1981. But behind this massive number lies a chapter many collectors overlook. These coins were among the final Lincoln cents ever produced in nearly pure copper, containing 95% copper and 5% zinc, making them part of a historic era that would end just a year later in 1982. But what makes the 1981 D cent even more intriguing is the subtle design changes and minting inconsistencies that went unnoticed by millions of Americans who use them daily. What most people never realized was that this ordinary penny was produced during a time of experimentation, transition, and quiet adjustments at the mint changes that today give certain 1981 cents surprising collector value. As you hold this coin, you're holding one of the final breaths of the copper penny age, and the deeper you go into its story, the more unexpected mysteries unfold. While most people simply see Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait on the front, collectors know the 1981 cent hides multiple varieties that are surprisingly hard to detect with the naked eye. The most famous of these is the Type 1 and Type 2 mint mark difference, a detail so small that most Americans never noticed anything at all. Type 1 features the older, more rounded mint mark style, while Type 2 has a sharper, more defined D, created using a new punch. These tiny distinctions can turn an everyday penny into a treasure for numismatists who recognize their value. But that's not where the story ends. Several 1981 cents escaped the mint with minor die cracks, filled mint marks, and even light doubling errors that happened during high-pressure production runs and would later become sought-after collectibles. Imagine millions of pennies flowing through machinery at extreme speed, and within that storm of copper, a few imperfect but priceless pieces slipped through, still circulating today in pockets, drawers, and coin jars without anyone realizing their true identity. As if the design and mint mark differences weren't enough, the economic conditions surrounding the 1981 cent add another layer of curiosity. Copper prices were rising fast, and the mint knew that producing solid copper pennies was becoming too expensive. Behind closed doors, officials were already experimenting with cheaper zinc-based planchets, each trial bringing them closer to the dramatic change that would occur in 1982. That means the 1981 cent was minted during a transition period, a moment when the mint was preparing to say goodbye to the classic copper penny forever. The idea that a simple coin we often ignore today was once at the center of major financial decisions adds weight to its importance. People today love copper pennies because they represent strength, authenticity, and history, but back then, they were becoming too costly to make. This tension created an environment where any small variation or minting flaw became even more meaningful, because these coins were among the very last of their kind. Collectors also point out that the 1981 cent marks the end of an era for another reason. It was one of the final cents struck with the original master hub used since the 1970s, meaning the details of Lincoln's portrait and the lettering were beginning to show subtle aging. This aging caused slight distortions that later led the mint to introduce a new hub design in 1982. These tiny imperfections, created naturally through years of use, became one more source of unexpected varieties in the 1981 series. Some coins show sharper details, while others appear slightly weaker, depending on which die and hub generation struck them. These distinctions might seem small, but to serious collectors, they can be the difference between a common penny and a valuable one. Think about it, 2 pennies minted on the same day can have entirely different worths today simply because of microscopic variations created during this final chapter of the old hub design. And finally, perhaps the most suspenseful part of the 1981 penny story is how many rare pieces are still sitting unnoticed in circulation today. Because these coins were produced in such massive numbers, people assume they're ordinary. But collectors know that hidden among the billions are valuable varieties, beautiful red uncirculated examples, rare error coins, and sharp Type 2 mint mark pieces that can sell for far more than 1 cent. Every collector dreams of finding that perfect copper 1981 cent in a forgotten jar or mixed roll, still glowing after decades. That possibility of hidden treasure is what keeps this coin exciting even today. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced numismatist, the 1981 cent reminds you that history can hide in the smallest objects, and sometimes the most ordinary-looking penny can carry a story worth far more than its face value. The story of the 1982 Lincoln cent is unlike any other year in all of American penny history, because 1982 was the year everything changed. For the first time since 1909, the U.S. Mint made a dramatic shift in the metal composition of the 1-cent coin, ending the era of the classic 95% copper penny and replacing it with a cheaper copper-plated zinc version. This wasn't just a small update. This was a complete transformation, and the Denver Mint became the center of this historic switch. Due to rising copper prices, each copper penny was slowly becoming more expensive to produce than its face value, forcing the government to make a tough decision. The transition happened quietly, month by month, and the public had no idea that they were receiving two completely different types of pennies in their change. In this single year, the mint struck both solid copper cents and zinc cents, making 1982 one of the most complex and mysterious years in American coinage. And among all these varieties, the 1982 D penny holds a special place, because hidden inside this year is one of the biggest mysteries in modern coin collecting. Collectors love the 1982 D penny not only because of the metal change, but also because 1982 produced an unusual number of varieties, something that confuses beginners and excites experts. There are 7 official varieties of 1982 cents, and the 1982 D versions themselves come with major differences. The Denver Mint struck both large date and small date designs, and even more importantly, the coins were minted in both copper and zinc, depending on the time of production. But here is where the story gets truly fascinating. Although the mint produced zinc cents in huge numbers, a very specific coin, the 1982 D small date copper cent, should not exist at all, according to official mint records. Yet, unbelievably, one surfaced in 2016, shocking the numismatic world. That single coin, struck in copper when Denver was only supposed to mint zinc, became one of the rarest pennies known, valued in the tens of thousands of dollars. This impossible penny sent collectors into a frenzy, proving that the 1982 D series contains secrets far deeper than anyone expected. While most people look at a penny and see nothing special, the 1982 D series reveals how chaotic and complicated the mint's operations were during the transition year. Because the switch from copper to zinc wasn't a clean, single-day process, different dies, planchets, and designs ended up being mixed during production. Some copper planchets may have accidentally remained in the hoppers, leading to rare transitional errors. Meanwhile, the dramatic weight difference, 3.11 grams for copper versus 2.5 grams for zinc, became the key way collectors identify them today. Imagine the chaos inside the mint. Machines running non-stop, old copper blanks still left in storage, and new zinc blanks arriving for testing. The speed and pressure of production created countless opportunities for mistakes, meaning the 1982 D coins could include double dies, die cracks, filled mint marks, weak strikes, and even transitional errors that could still be undiscovered today. This is why collectors keep searching, because every roll, every jar, every forgotten box could be hiding something extraordinary. The design of the 1982 D penny itself carries historical weight, because it was one of the last cents struck with the original Frank Gasparo reverse design that had been used since 1959. This was during a time when dies were wearing out quickly, especially at the Denver Mint, which was famous for massive production numbers. As a result, many 1982 D cents show strike variations, some crisp and sharp, others soft and weak, making subtle differences collectors love to study. The switch to zinc also caused new problems. Zinc planchets were harder to plate evenly, leading to uneven surfaces, peeling copper layers, and tiny bubbles that sometimes appeared on the coin after years of circulation. These blistered zinc cents became a visual symbol of the rush transition and the mint's struggle to adapt to a brand new composition. Each 1982 D penny, whether copper or zinc, tells a different story depending on when and how it was struck, making the year feel like a treasure map full of clues. What makes the 1982 D penny truly thrilling today is the possibility that more undiscovered rarities might still exist. The fact that an impossible copper small-date Denver cent was found means others could still be out there, hiding inside ordinary penny rolls in people's homes. Millions of 1982 D cents are still circulating, mixed in jars, drawers, and piggy banks, waiting to be checked. Every collector dreams of being the next person to find a rare transitional error worth thousands. And that suspense keeps the 1982 D penny alive with excitement even decades later. The combination of two metals, two date styles, multiple errors, and one legendary rarity makes this coin one of the most unpredictable and exciting chapters in U.S. coin history. And the idea that something so small, so ordinary, and so ignored could turn out to be worth a fortune is exactly what keeps people searching. The 1982 D penny isn't just a coin. It's a mystery, a challenge, and a chance for discovery, all hiding in plain sight. The 1984 Lincoln cent begins in a period of major transition in American coinage, when the U.S. Mint was still adjusting to the copper-to-zinc shift that had happened just 2 years earlier. By 1984, the new copper-plated zinc pennies were in full production, But the process was far from smooth. The mint was experimenting with new machinery, new blank preparation methods, and new plating techniques to avoid the blistering and peeling issues that were common in the earliest zinc cents. Even though the design itself had not changed since 1959, these new planchets gave the coin a different weight, a different sound, and even a different durability. As millions of these coins entered circulation, the mint struggled to maintain consistency, resulting in noticeable variations in strike quality, color, and even thickness. This inconsistency planted the seeds for something that would soon make the 1984 penny one of the most talked about coins of its decade, the accidental creation of a now famous double die variety. And this was no ordinary doubling. This was one that collectors still hunt for today, hoping to find a piece of history hiding inside everyday pocket change. The 1984 penny may appear simple at first glance, but behind this small copper-colored coin lies one of the most significant error stories of the 1980s. The 1984 double die obverse with the extra ear on Lincoln. Unlike previous double dies that were usually visible in the date or lettering, this one showed an unmistakable and almost shocking second outline of Lincoln's earlobe. It looked so bold and deliberate that many early collectors doubted it was even real, assuming it had to be damaged or altered. But experts confirmed it as a genuine double die, caused by the die being misaligned during hubbing, creating an extremely rare and highly prized variety. This dramatic doubling became the highlight of the 1984 penny's legacy and made the coin instantly famous among collectors, especially when high-grade examples started selling for hundreds and even thousands of dollars. And the suspense continues today because nobody knows exactly how many of these coins were made. They slipped quietly into circulation, unnoticed by the public, meaning some may still be sitting in jars, drawers, and old piggy banks, waiting for the right person to find them. Even beyond the famous error, the 1984 penny tells an important story about the challenges the U.S. Mint faced during the early zinc era. Striking copper-plated zinc planchets required much more precision than striking the older solid bronze cents. If the pressure was too low, the coin would come out weak and dull. If it was too high, the plating could crack or bubble. This delicate balance meant that even minor issues in the striking process could create unusual coins. Coins with plating bubbles, die chips, cracks, filled letters, and distorted details. As a result, collectors today find a wide range of fascinating 1984 penny errors, from die breaks around the Lincoln Memorial to dramatic cracks across Lincoln's coat. These variations help tell the story of a mint still learning how to perfect a cheaper coin that was supposed to save the government millions of dollars. Yet, in its attempt to create a more economical penny, the mint accidentally produced one of the most collectible modern coins, proof that cutting costs can sometimes create priceless surprises. Production numbers for the 1984 penny were massive. Billions of coins struck between Philadelphia and Denver. The sheer volume of coins being produced added even more opportunities for mistakes, especially during long production runs when dies wore out faster than expected. The Denver Mint, known for high-speed output, produced cents with noticeable differences in strike sharpness and mint mark clarity, while Philadelphia coins showed their own personality through various minor anomalies. Although these differences might seem small to the average person, coin collectors know that every tiny detail can add value. The large-scale production also ensured that many coins from this year traveled across the entire country, experiencing decades of wear and tear, making high-grade examples more desirable today. In this sea of billions of coins, the rare errors, especially the double die, became hidden treasures, blending in perfectly with regular cents and making the hunt even more thrilling for collectors. What keeps the 1984 penny so exciting today is the mystery of how many rare varieties might still be undiscovered. The double deer variety wasn't identified immediately. It took years before collectors realized its significance. That means other unusual pieces could still be out there waiting to be recognized. With millions of people unaware that a single 1984 penny could be worth hundreds or even thousands, countless rare coins continue to circulate unnoticed. This possibility fuels the excitement for collectors and YouTube audiences alike. The idea that an ordinary coin in your change, something worth just 1 cent, could secretly hold incredible value. It's that suspense, combined with the fascinating history of the transition era, that makes the 1984 penny one of the most captivating modern coins ever minted. And every time someone searches through their old coins, They might be just one lucky moment away from discovering a hidden treasure created by accident, buried in a year that looked ordinary but was anything but. The 1988 1-cent coin in your hand, you might think it's just another ordinary piece of currency. After all, it's tiny, copper-colored, and worth just a penny. But beneath its humble appearance lies a fascinating story that stretches back more than a century and reveals surprising secrets about American history, economics, and even art. The 1988 penny is part of a long line of coins that have quietly traveled through millions of hands, witnessing monumental events and societal changes. It's easy to overlook such a small coin, but this particular year's penny carries subtle details and historical significance that many collectors and historians find irresistible. Did you know that the design on the coin reflects one of the most enduring symbols of the United States? Yet the very material it's made from hints at an era of economic shifts and metal shortages? As you listen, you'll discover how the 1988 penny is more than just pocket change. It's a tiny time capsule filled with layers of meaning and value. The story of the 1988 1-cent coin cannot be told without understanding the journey of the Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This made the penny the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, breaking from traditional designs of allegorical figures and symbols. Over decades, this design evolved subtly, but the 1988 penny stayed true to tradition, showcasing Lincoln's profile on the obverse side, crafted meticulously by Victor David Brenner. What makes the 1988 penny special is not just its familiar image but the context in which it was minted. During the 1980s, the United States was experiencing inflation and a rising cost of copper, the primary metal in pennies. Yet, the U.S. Mint chose to continue producing pennies mostly from copper, 97.5% copper, and 2.5% zinc, despite growing calls to change the composition. This stubborn decision links the 1988 penny to a broader economic story that affected industries and consumers alike, making it a coin that embodies both tradition and resistance to change. The details on the reverse side of the 1988 1-cent coin also tell an intriguing tale. It features the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of unity, freedom, and the enduring legacy of the 16th president. But look closely at the monument on the coin's back, and you'll find a tiny, almost hidden, image of a figure seated inside. The statue of Lincoln himself, perfectly miniature and detailed despite the coin's small size. This artistic feat is something that not many people notice, yet it adds depth and complexity to a coin most dismiss as trivial. The design has remained virtually unchanged since 1959, making the 1988 penny part of a long-standing tradition that connects generations. Interestingly, this era's pennies also reflect subtle changes in the minting process. Small shifts in the strike quality and metal purity that can make a big difference to coin collectors searching for rare variants or error coins. Could your 1988 penny be one of those rare pieces hiding in plain sight? The suspense of discovering an unusual variant in a coin you use daily is part of the thrill that keeps collectors fascinated by these seemingly ordinary pennies. Another fascinating angle about the 1988 1-cent coin involves its place in the broader context of coin collecting and numismatic value. While pennies are generally considered to be low in monetary worth, the 1988 penny has intrigued collectors due to certain minting anomalies and limited errors that occasionally appear. These errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or unusual coloration, can turn a common penny into a valuable treasure worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In 1988, the mint struck millions of pennies, but among them were some rare mistakes, creating a buzz in the numismatic community. Imagine finding one of these error pennies in your pocket change. What seems like an everyday coin could suddenly make you a proud owner of a valuable collectible. Beyond the errors, the 1988 penny also represents a snapshot of U.S. monetary policy before the major change in 1982, when the copper content of pennies was drastically reduced. Holding one of these coins is like holding a piece of history that is quickly becoming scarce, adding to its allure and potential investment value. Finally, the 1988 1-cent coin reminds us that even the smallest objects can carry stories that stretch beyond their face value. It stands at a crossroads of history, economy, art, and culture, embodying moments of change and continuity. As the penny quietly made its way into wallets, cash registers, and coin jars, It was a witness to a nation's evolving economy and the subtle shifts in manufacturing technology. It invites us to pause and appreciate the craftsmanship that goes into everyday items we often overlook. The next time you come across a 1988 penny, ask yourself, what stories does this tiny coin hold? What secrets are hidden in its metal and design? The answer might surprise you and spark a curiosity that goes far beyond collecting coins. It's a connection to history itself. So, never underestimate the power of a simple penny, especially one minted in 1988. It might just be your ticket to discovering a fascinating world of hidden value and stories waiting to be uncovered. The 1989 1-cent coin, it might look like just another everyday penny, but don't be fooled by its ordinary appearance. This small coin carries with it a story layered with history, art, economics, and a hidden world of mystery that most people never even consider. Minted during a time of subtle change, the 1989 penny is part of a fascinating chapter in the long legacy of American currency, tracing back to Abraham Lincoln's unforgettable image on the obverse side. What makes this coin truly captivating is not just its face value but the unique context of its creation, one that intertwines the story of the American economy, rising metal prices, and even technological advancements in minting. As you dive deeper into the history behind this coin, you'll uncover secrets that may surprise you and make you look twice the next time you hold a penny in your hand. Could such a common coin hide rare errors or hold unexpected value? Let's unravel the mystery together. The 1989 1-cent coin stands proudly as part of the Lincoln Memorial Series, a design that first appeared in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design, featuring the majestic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, carries an artistic marvel hidden in plain sight. A tiny, intricately detailed statue of Lincoln himself sits at the heart of the memorial. This miniature detail is a testament to the craftsmanship and precision of the U.S. Mint. The coin's obverse, bearing Lincoln's profile, was originally created by Victor David Brenner in 1909 and remains one of the most recognizable images in numismatics. The year 1989 is particularly interesting because it represents a period before major changes were made to penny composition in the 1990s, meaning the coin retained most of its copper makeup, 97.5% copper and 2.5% zinc. This choice of material came at a time when the price of copper was fluctuating wildly, adding an extra layer of economic intrigue to the story. So when you hold a 1989 penny, you're literally holding a piece of economic history forged in metal. One of the most thrilling aspects of the 1989 penny story involves its production process and the hidden surprises it may contain. Each year, millions of these pennies are minted at various U.S. mint locations, including Philadelphia and Denver, and they generally look identical to the casual observer. However, among these millions of coins, there lurk a few anomalies and minting errors that can turn an ordinary penny into a rare collector's dream. Errors like doubled dies, off-center strikes, or unusual metal coloration from improper alloy mixtures are the stuff that excite numismatists worldwide. The suspense lies in the fact that you never know when you might stumble upon one of these rare variants, possibly worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In 1989, subtle shifts in minting technology and quality control made such errors slightly more common, making it an exciting year for collectors hunting for hidden treasures. Imagine sorting through a jar of pennies and suddenly finding one that defies the norm. This thrill keeps coin enthusiasts coming back for more. Another fascinating layer to the 1989 penny's history is its cultural and economic symbolism during the late 20th century. At this time, America was experiencing both technological growth and economic challenges, including inflation and changing metal prices. The penny, often seen as trivial due to its low face value, actually symbolizes deeper issues about money, value, and tradition. For decades, there was debate about whether to change the penny's composition or even discontinue it entirely, as its production cost began to exceed its monetary worth. Yet, the 1989 penny remained steadfastly copper-rich, resisting these pressures for a time. This resistance to change reflects broader societal attitudes about preserving tradition in a rapidly evolving world. Furthermore, the penny's design, the enduring image of Abraham Lincoln, reminds us of the values of perseverance, leadership, and unity. This coin thus becomes more than just currency. It becomes a symbol of America's ongoing struggle to balance progress and heritage. Finally, the story of the 1989 1-cent coin teaches us an important lesson about value and perception. In a world that often overlooks small things, this penny challenges us to reconsider what worth really means. Though it might be easy to dismiss a penny as insignificant, the 1989 coin embodies a rich history, intricate artistry, and a surprising potential for rarity and value. Whether you're a casual holder, a curious collector, or someone fascinated by the stories embedded in everyday objects, the 1989 penny offers a unique gateway into America's cultural and economic past. Next time you come across one, take a moment to look closer. There could be hidden details or even a rare minting error waiting to be discovered. The humble penny from 1989 is more than just change. It's a tiny piece of history that invites you to uncover its secrets and join a community of enthusiasts who see value far beyond the coin's face. The 1991-cent coin might seem like an everyday object, something so common and overlooked that it barely registers in our minds. But appearances can be deceiving. This tiny penny holds a rich and complex story behind its copper surface, a story intertwined with decades of American history, artistry, and even economic mystery. Minted during a time of quiet transition, the 1990 penny stands at the crossroads between tradition and change. As you listen, you'll discover that this small coin is more than just pocket change. It is a symbol of the nation's resilience and its subtle response to shifting economic tides. The details etched onto this coin speak volumes about the era it was minted in, and if you look closely, you might find that the 1990 penny has hidden secrets. Some even numismatists are still uncovering. Could a simple coin from 1990 hold the key to unexpected value or stories waiting to be told? Let's dive into the fascinating world of this humble cent and unveil the layers that make it so intriguing. The design of the 1990 penny is a continuation of a long-standing legacy that dates back to 1909 when the United States introduced the Lincoln cent for the very first time. This was the first coin to feature a real person, Abraham Lincoln, breaking away from abstract figures and symbols that had dominated U.S. coinage for centuries. The obverse side, featuring Lincoln's profile sculpted by Victor David Brenner, has become one of the most iconic and enduring images in American currency. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial reigns, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday. What's fascinating about this design is the tiny statue of Lincoln visible inside the memorial, an incredibly detailed miniature that few casual observers notice. The 1990 penny still retained its original composition, made mostly of copper, 97.5% copper and 2.5% zinc, which is significant because the cost of copper was rising, putting pressure on the U.S. Mint to consider alternatives. So, this coin captures a moment in time when tradition battled with practicality, making it a tangible piece of economic history. One of the most captivating aspects of the 1990 penny lies not just in its design or composition, but in the story of its minting and the rare surprises it may conceal. Each year, millions of these coins were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, destined to become part of everyday transactions. However, among the mass production, certain anomalies occasionally slipped through, errors that turned some 1990 pennies into prized collectibles. From double dies, where design elements appear to have been stamped twice, to off-center strikes and unusual metal coloration, these mistakes make some pennies worth far more than their face value. The suspense in coin collecting comes from the thrill of the hunt, the possibility that the coin in your pocket might be a rare find. The 1990 penny, produced during a time of subtle changes in minting technology and quality control, is known to have a few such rare variants. Could your 1990 penny be hiding a secret error? This mystery adds an exciting layer of intrigue to what many consider just a simple coin. The cultural and economic backdrop of the 1990 penny's production adds even more depth to its story. The late 1980s and early 1990s were a time of economic uncertainty in the United States, with inflation and fluctuating commodity prices influencing government decisions. The penny, often overlooked and undervalued, was actually the subject of debate regarding its future. Producing a coin that cost more to make than its face value sparked discussions about altering its composition or eliminating it altogether. Yet, in 1990, the mint stayed true to the traditional copper-rich formula, preserving a century-old tradition and the symbolic value of the coin. This resistance to change reflected a larger national conversation about preserving heritage while facing economic realities. The penny's image of Lincoln reminded citizens of enduring American ideals, even as the country navigated modernization and economic pressures. The 1990 penny thus serves as a bridge between past and present, tradition and innovation. In the end, the 1991-cent coin teaches us that even the smallest objects can carry profound stories and hidden value. What most people see as a mere penny is, in fact, a vessel of history, artistry, and economic symbolism. Whether you're a casual observer or a dedicated coin collector, this coin invites you to look beyond its modest exterior and consider the world it represents. Next time you come across a 1990 penny, take a moment to examine it closely. You might discover subtle details or rare errors that could surprise you. This coin is more than currency. It's a tangible link to a pivotal moment in American history and a symbol of the value we assign to tradition and change. The mystery and allure of the 1990 penny lie in its ability to transform from a simple piece of metal into a story waiting to be uncovered. Are you ready to uncover it?